Turejee hapa Nairobi ambapo tuelekee katika majengo ya bunge ambapo mwenyekiti wa kamati ya bunge kuhusu fedha Ndindi Nyoro anazungumza na waandishi wa habari. Tusikilize yanayojiri.
Now, if you look at the current fiscal framework of the budget we are talking about today, we have the projection of ordinary revenue of around 2.9 trillion. And then there is appropriations in aid of around 441 billion shillings. Then grants of around 51 billion. Then there is a deficit. That deficit is part of also one of the issues we want to communicate, is that the reason why we downgraded the budget in terms of expenditure is because we also want to rationalize the amount of money we are anticipating to borrow as a country. At the budget policy statement level, the country was looking forward into borrowing around 700 billion Kenya shillings. Now, in this budget policy in these estimates, we have brought down that deficit to around 514 billion Kenya shillings. So we have cut on the money we are expecting to borrow. Under this consideration of this budget, we are also considering the lowest in many years deficit to GDP ratio that is coming in to fill the budget of just 2.9%. As you know, last year, but one, it was almost 7%, because every time we continue to spend less, to borrow less. Consequently then, we have also increased the amount of money we are putting into payments of interest rates. There is an expenditure in the budget called Consolidated Fund Services, which accounts for the payment of interest rates and also pensions. We have also enhanced that to close to 1.3 trillion Kenya shillings, and Kenya will be spending 1.08 trillion Kenya shillings into payments of interest rates for our loans, what we call in Kizogomingi financial obligations. They are loans we are paying for, which were taken, of course, earlier. So we'll be spending 1.08 trillion into paying interest rates. Maybe the only sunshine in that is that most of it, around 750 billion, will be interest rates to Kenyans, which is domestic, and the rest will be to foreign obligations. We'll be spending around 200 billion also into pensions, that is CFS. Now, I want now to go to specific areas, which we thought is very good that we clarified, because we have also seen those issues being of great concern to Kenyans. One, I want to assure the people of Kenya that the Budget and Appropriations Committee, in consultation with the entire Parliament led by the Department for Education, and in consultation with the Executive, there is an issue that has been of very great concern to Kenyans about school feeding program. And I want to assure Kenyans that you have already considered so far monies that will be going into NACONEC to advance the cause of school-going children in areas that they need support in terms of food. And therefore, school feeding program is there. We have provided for the money, and it will continue uninterrupted. In the first phase, we will be proposing around 3 billion Kenya shillings into the fund, as also we look at the strengthening its supply chains, so that we continue also to enhance that budget. So school feeding program is there, we have provided for it. Secondly, there are many of our brothers and sisters who are currently under internship in our JSS and other areas within the education sector. I also want to clarify and make it very clear that the Budget and Appropriations Committee, again consulting with the relevant departments and Education Department in in Parliament that we have provided resources for the confirmation of JSS interns into permanent and pensionable terms. We do this because they have already done a great job so far. Of course, with very little pay, it is only fair that we treat our brothers and sisters who are current interns in a manner that they have also treated our country with a lot of respect. And that is why we thought it is important that we consider the monies for the JSS teachers. The other thing in the education sector, we'll be making amendments on the proposal that was submitted by the National Treasury, because you have also seen some gaps. But before I come to the gaps, it is also important, because I want to be very brief, also other members can say something. Maybe the other thing before I come to the enhancement that we are going to do. This process has been running concurrently. 3 very important processes. The supplementary estimates for 23-24 financial year, and the full year estimates consideration for the year 24-25. There is also another very critical process. When we are appropriating money, we also consider that Kenya has devolved counties or devolved units, and therefore we also run concurrent with how much money is going to the counties, especially vertically, so that we also appropriate how much money is coming into the national government. And that process is enhanced through a process or a document called the Division of Revenue Bill. There has been conflicting figures proposed by various agencies, and I also want to make it very clear today that we have been able to hold mediation process. We concluded yesterday, and this committee, the president, and all the other agencies involved, including the County of Governors, led by Governor Anne Waiguru, the Senate, we have come to a conclusion that we all must support devolution. And in that respect, we have done major changes in the Division of Revenue Bill, and therefore we have added the equitable share from the previous 375 billion Kenya shillings into the current figure, which will be proposing for approval, that the equitable share in Kenya in the year 24-25 will now be 400.1 billion Kenya shillings. This is unprecedented. That figure has never come close to that, and it goes into showing that we are walking the talk in the support of devolution. We have devolved the equitable share of 400 billion, which means more services into the healthcare, more resources into agriculture, more resources into ECD, more resources into water distribution, and all the other devolved functions. And we'll continue doing more. We are doing more in the additional allocation to our counties, which are conditional, which we are also giving over 45 billion Kenya shillings in that regard. Maybe I want to also say this so that I give others an opportunity. The proposal before us from the National Treasury has been 3.14 trillion. This committee, after looking at the gaps that we needed to bridge, we will be deciding on adding some extra monies into our expenditure. And it's important that we communicate this to Kenyans, because some of the areas we saw, especially school feeding program, needs more resources, can't wait. And therefore this committee also thought it is important we add more money into that. We'll be adding more money into our universities for help. That is one, because all that money also finds its way to the universities. We'll be adding more money into infrastructure in our universities, which majority have stalled. We'll be adding more money into DUC model, maybe around 5 billion shillings, so that the first years will be reporting in in September, we will also have resources waiting for them. We'll also be proposing additional resources into the seed money of some of the funds we created through the new what is replacing NHIF. SHIF will be proposing additional resources into the seed funds for those. If you read that law, we are creating new entities. They need to be capitalized. We'll be adding more than 25 billion Kenya shillings into healthcare so that we make universal healthcare accessible to all Kenyans. All this we are doing because we thought it is important we budget for these monies now other than later, because we need Kenyans to enjoy this utility as soon as possible. Otherwise, I want to thank you very much. The other thing I want to close with, we have done something that is also very exciting. Electricity is no longer a luxury in Kenya. It is also